Imagine taking your child out for his special birthday dinner. He's excited, dreaming of finally tasting lobster. But then, the restaurant staff start mocking him, turning his happiest moment into humiliation. Everyone laughed, except one man. He looked like an ordinary customer, but in reality, he was a global hero, John Cena. And that night, he made a decision. This diner was about to change forever. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more inspiring stories. And hey, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching this video from. The late evening air was sharp and still, the glow of neon signs flickering down Harbor Street. Outside the old Compass Diner, a man stepped out of a modest car. He wore faded jeans, a charcoal jacket, and boots scuffed from long use. To anyone passing by, he looked like nothing more than a tired traveler searching for a warm meal. But this wasn't just anyone. This was John Cena, global superstar, champion, actor, and philanthropist. And now, secretly, the new owner of this very diner. 2 days earlier, he had quietly signed the ownership papers. No media, no celebration, not even a single word to the staff who worked inside. Cena didn't want a show. He wanted the truth. And the only way to find it was to step through those doors as just another ordinary customer. The bell above the entrance jingled faintly as he walked in. Warm air filled with the smell of coffee, bacon grease, and faintly of lobster rolled toward him. Cena paused at the threshold, letting his eyes scan the room. Cracked vinyl booths lined the walls. Chrome stools circled the counter. A few late-night regulars sat hunched over coffee. And the staff? They looked more drained than welcoming. Behind the hostess stand stood a young woman, platinum ponytail swaying as she scrolled through her phone with zero interest. Her name tag read, Tiffany. She barely glanced up. "Just you?" she asked flatly, without a smile. Cena nodded gently. "Yeah, just me. Booth, if that's all right." His voice was calm, unassuming, no trace of fame or recognition. Tiffany led him toward the back. The booth creaked as he slid onto the worn vinyl seat. Above him, a clock had frozen years ago at 3:14. A laminated menu, stained with old coffee rings, landed on the table without care. Cena gave the faintest smile. Most people would see a tired old diner. But he saw clues, details that told a bigger story. Slowly, he pulled a small leather notebook from his jacket, flipped to a blank page, and wrote, "First impression. Nostalgic on the surface, neglected underneath. Staff energy, disengaged. To the world, John Cena was a champion, but tonight, in this small-town diner, he was something else. A quiet observer, a hidden owner, a man about to uncover the truth of his own restaurant. And no one in the building had any idea what was coming next. John Cena leaned back slightly in his booth, letting the faint hum of the diner wash over him. At first glance, it was ordinary, but the longer he observed, the clearer the cracks became. The place had history. You could almost feel it in the old photographs on the walls, the worn counter polished by decades of elbows, the neon sign outside still fighting to stay alive. But beneath the surface, something was broken. He noticed it in the staff first. At the hostess stand, Tiffany leaned lazily against the counter, her phone glowing in her hand. Every customer who walked in was greeted not with warmth, but with sighs and eye rolls. She wasn't just disinterested, she was dismissive. Across the room, A young man with a messy man bun leaned against the soda machine. His apron was stained. His name tag read Jason. Instead of serving tables, he scrolled through messages on his phone, smirking at something on the screen. When a family with 2 kids accidentally spilled a drink, Jason didn't even look up. From the back office, Cena caught a glimpse of another figure. The manager, Mason Blake. He appeared for only a moment, coffee in hand, scanning the room with a face that radiated apathy. Then, just as quickly, he slipped back into his office and shut the door. A ghost running the place. But not everyone was like that. From behind the counter, a waitress appeared carrying a tray of steaming coffee. She moved quickly, with purpose, and when she reached a table of exhausted parents, her smile, though small, was genuine. Her name tag read, Emily. Cena noticed the difference instantly. While others ignored problems, she anticipated them. She brought napkins before being asked, refilled drinks quietly, and offered small kindnesses no one else seemed to notice. In the kitchen, the sound of sizzling pans and clattering plates echoed with precision. When the door swung open, Cena caught sight of the cook, Carlos. His posture was firm, his eyes sharp, his movements efficient. He plated dishes with care, adding small touches like garnishes that most customers would never expect in a diner like this. A man who cared, even when no one gave him credit. Cena tapped his pen against the notebook, writing one word: potential. On one side, he saw laziness, cruelty, and apathy. On the other, resilience, kindness, and discipline. 2 worlds clashing under the same roof. And John Cena knew, deep down, that sooner or later, that clash would explode. The bell above the diner door jingled again. John Cena, still scribbling in his notebook, looked up, and in that moment, the entire energy of the room shifted. A woman stepped inside, holding the hand of a little boy. She wore a worn but clean coat, sleeves frayed at the edges. Her grip on her purse was tight, as if letting go would mean losing everything. Her face carried exhaustion, but her eyes carried determination. Tonight mattered. The boy, maybe 7 years old, bounced on his toes with uncontainable excitement. His shirt was neatly tucked into second-hand khakis, a little too big for him, but his smile was bright enough to fill the whole diner. His wide eyes scanned the booths and the neon lights as if he'd stepped into a magical wonderland. "This is it, Tyler," his mother said softly, her voice both tired and brave. "Your birthday dinner starts now." Tyler's grin widened. He almost couldn't sit still as they followed Tiffany to their table. But instead of offering them a warm booth, Tiffany led them to the worst spot in the house, the table nearest the swinging kitchen door. The light above flickered, and every few seconds the smell of greasy dishwater wafted out. "Here's fine," Tiffany said carelessly, plopping menus down. Then she muttered under her breath, just loud enough for Jason to hear, "Keep the good tables open." Jason snickered. Neither of them noticed Cena's sharp gaze from across the room. But Tyler didn't care. He climbed eagerly into his seat, legs swinging under the table. His eyes glowed with anticipation. "Mom, this is where we're having my lobster, right? The real lobster?" His mother smiled gently, brushing his hair back with trembling fingers. "That's right, sweetheart." From behind the counter, Jason leaned closer to Tiffany, whispering with a smirk, "Guess what table 12 ordered? Birthday lobster for the kid." Tiffany laughed. "Must have found a $20 bill in a parking lot. Or maybe it's child support week." Jason chuckled louder. "Bet they're gonna split it and take half home." The laughter stung the air. A couple of nearby customers shifted uncomfortably. Cena's hand tightened around his coffee mug, his knuckles whitening. His jaw flexed, but he said nothing. Not yet. Emily, however, heard it. She walked to the table with her pad in hand, her posture professional, but her eyes soft. "Can I get you started with something to drink?" she asked gently. "Just water for me," the mother said quietly. "And chocolate milk for the birthday boy?" Tyler clapped his hands. "Yes, and lobster, right? The real kind." Emily crouched slightly, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret. "Absolutely. We'll make it special." She glanced toward the kitchen, catching Carlos's eye. He gave her a firm nod and disappeared into the back, already preparing. Cena leaned back in his booth, pretending to scroll on his phone, but every sense was locked on that corner table. He could see Tyler's eyes sparkling with joy, his mother's nervous smile, Emily's quiet determination. For a moment, it felt like maybe, just maybe, this birthday would be perfect. 20 minutes later, Carlos himself emerged from the kitchen, carrying a plate that looked nothing short of spectacular. The lobster was golden, steaming, arranged neatly with vegetables and mashed potatoes piped like frosting. It wasn't diner food. It was art. When Carlos set it down in front of Tyler, the boy's jaw dropped. "Whoa," he whispered, staring wide-eyed at the plate. "It looks like TV food, Mom." His mother smiled with pride, eyes glistening. "Say thank you to the chef, sweetheart." "Thank you, chef." Tyler called out toward the kitchen. Carlos raised a hand in reply, a small but genuine gesture. For the first time that evening, Cena allowed himself a breath of relief. Maybe tonight wouldn't end in disappointment. Maybe this child would get the joy he deserved. Tyler picked up his fork with exaggerated care, clearly coached by his mom, and speared a small piece of lobster. He took a bite, chewing slowly, savoring the moment, and then his smile faltered. He swallowed hard, looking up at his mom with a frown. "Mom," he whispered, almost embarrassed. "It's cold in the middle." Her heart sank. She lifted a piece carefully, her hand trembling as she checked it. Her eyes tightened. She knew. The lobster hadn't been cooked through. She forced a soft smile, trying to shield her son from disappointment. But Tyler's eyes were already filled with confusion. "Is it supposed to be like that?" he asked innocently. She placed a hand on his shoulder. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We'll fix it." Then she flagged Emily down quietly. Cena's pen froze above his notebook. His chest tightened. He knew what came next, and he was already bracing for it. Emily leaned down, concern etched across her face as Tyler's mother quietly explained. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, keeping her voice low so Tyler wouldn't hear the worry. "But I think this was undercooked. It's cold in the middle." Emily nodded immediately. "Let me take it back and check. I promise we'll make this right." She reached for the plate, but before she could even step toward the kitchen, Tiffany appeared, intercepting her like a hawk. "What's wrong with this one?" Tiffany asked, picking up the lobster plate with careless hands. "It's undercooked," Emily said firmly. "Carlos can remake it." But Tiffany cut her off with a scoff. "Please, it's fine. I'll just nuke it for 30 seconds. They'll never know the difference." Emily froze, stunned. "Tiffany, no. That's not how we do it. It's a child's birthday." But Tiffany was already pushing through the kitchen door, her voice rising loud enough for half the diner to hear. "Just throw it in the microwave, Carlos. Don't waste a fresh lobster on them. John Cena's pen snapped against his notebook. His hand tightened so hard against his coffee mug that his knuckles turned white. From across the diner, he could hear Jason chuckling from his post by the soda machine. "At least it'll be warm this time," Jason muttered, smirking at Tiffany's joke. Behind them, Carlos's voice cut through, firm and angry. "That's not how we cook here." But Tiffany ignored him, sliding the plate into the microwave with a slam of the door. She pressed the button and folded her arms with smug satisfaction. Jason laughed again, this time louder. Emily stood frozen, her face pale, her fists clenched at her sides. She wanted to fight harder, but she knew, here, she had no power. Tiffany and Jason always got away with it. And Mason, the manager, was nowhere to be found. Cena's jaw tightened as he watched the entire scene unfold. His eyes flicked to Tyler, who sat at the table, kicking his legs happily, oblivious to the mockery happening just feet away. His mother smiled at him, but her smile was forced, her eyes glistening as she tried to protect her son's joy. The microwave beeped. Tiffany strutted back out, sliding the plate down in front of Tyler with exaggerated cheer. "There you go, kiddo. Extra special birthday lobster." Jason smirked from across the room, shaking his head. Tyler grinned and picked up his fork again, eager to keep the magic alive. He took another bite. This time it was hot. Yes, but rubbery, uneven, wrong. He chewed with effort, his smile fading a little. He glanced at his mom, confused again. His mother swallowed hard, her hand gently patting his back. "It's good, sweetheart," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Just enjoy it. It's your special night." And then, she took a bite herself. Her eyes winced at the taste, but she forced a smile for her son's sake. Anything to protect him from disappointment. Cena's chest burned with anger. He had seen corporate greed, dishonest managers, and careless leaders in boardrooms before. But this, watching a little boy's birthday turn into humiliation because of arrogance and laziness, this felt personal. From behind the counter, Emily lingered nearby, her lips pressed tightly together. She wanted to scream, to throw Tiffany's microwaved plate in the trash where it belonged. But instead, she stood there, powerless, watching as Tyler tried to enjoy his ruined meal. And across the room, Jason leaned against the register, laughing under his breath. Tiffany joined him, muttering cruel comments, mocking the family just a few steps away. John Cena had seen enough. He pushed his plate away, stood up abruptly, and walked toward the door. The bell above jingled as he stepped outside into the cold night air. For a moment, he simply stood there, leaning against a lamppost in the parking lot, his breath visible in the chill. He wasn't angry in the loud, shouting kind of way. He was angry like a mountain is angry, still, quiet, unmoving, but ready to shake the earth. He looked back through the fog diner window. Inside, Tyler poked sadly at his reheated lobster while his mother smiled through tears. Emily hovered close by, trying to soften the damage, while Jason and Tiffany continued their cruel laughter near the counter. Carlos paced behind the kitchen door, visibly frustrated but helpless. Cena's jaw flexed. He knew this wasn't just about a ruined dinner. This was about dignity, about respect, about justice. And that night, as he walked away into the darkness, he wasn't leaving in defeat. He was leaving in preparation. Because tomorrow, the Compass Diner would discover exactly who he really was. Back in his motel room that night, John Cena sat at a small desk scattered with papers. Payroll logs, inspection reports, and copies of food invoices lay spread before him. Each document told a story, and none of them were good. He traced his finger across time cards that magically avoided overtime hours. He circled supply orders that didn't add up, food purchased off the books, tips missing, cash unaccounted for. It wasn't just carelessness. It was theft, dishonesty, and a culture of rot. Cena leaned back, rubbing a hand across his face. He had seen greed before, in Hollywood contracts, in corporate boardrooms, but this was different. This wasn't just about numbers. It was about people. About a mother forced to hide her tears so her son could enjoy a ruined birthday meal. About good workers like Emily and Carlos, trapped under bad leadership. He picked up his notebook and underlined a single word he'd written earlier. Emily, catalyst. Cena knew she wasn't just another waitress. She was the heart of the place. Quiet, kind, steady. Someone who still cared even when everyone else had given up. If this diner was going to survive, it would be because of people like her. The next afternoon, Cena drove 2 towns over to a quiet cafe. A place where no one would recognize him. Where conversation could happen without whispers or gossip. He chose a corner booth, ordered a plain black coffee, and waited. A few minutes later, the bell above the door rang. Emily walked in. Out of uniform, she looked different. Jeans, a simple sweater, hair down around her shoulders. Younger, softer, but her eyes carried the same weight he'd noticed before. She spotted him, hesitated for just a moment, then walked over. "Hi," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. "You're the guy from the diner. The one with the notebook." Cena smiled faintly and extended a hand. "John, thanks for meeting me." She shook it cautiously, curiosity etched across her face. "So, what is this? Some kind of customer follow-up?" "Not exactly." Cena took a slow sip of his coffee before leaning in slightly. "I've been spending some time at Compass Diner. Watching, listening, trying to understand what's really going on." Emily's hands wrapped around her cup, her eyes narrowing. "And what did you find?" "Potential," Cena said. "Real potential. But it's buried under bad habits and worse leadership." For a moment, Emily didn't respond. She stared into her coffee as if it might answer for her. Then quietly she spoke. "It wasn't always like that. When Mr. Grady ran the place, he knew every customer's name. He gave free pie to single parents on Sundays. The diner had heart. But when he retired, everything changed. Hours got cut. Prices went up. Management stopped caring. It's like the soul of the place was ripped out. Then why stay?" Cena asked gently. Emily hesitated, her voice soft. "Because I need the job. And because I keep hoping maybe it could go back to what it was." Cena studied her for a long moment, then leaned forward. "If it were up to you, what would you fix first?" Her eyes widened, almost suspicious. "You're serious?" "Very." Emily took a deep breath. "First thing? The culture. People walk in and feel judged, unwelcome. That has to stop. Staff need training, clear expectations, and someone who actually enforces it. And the kitchen. Carlos is brilliant, but he's burned out. He needs support, not stress." She stopped suddenly, embarrassed. "Sorry, I didn't mean to rant." "You weren't ranting," Cena said softly. "You were leading." Her brow furrowed as she studied him. "Are you some kind of consultant?" Cena gave the faintest smile. not answering directly. Let's just say, I'm invested in making things right. She tilted her head, suspicion shifting into realization. You're not just passing through, are you? Not anymore, he replied, voice steady. Now I'm paying very close attention. By the time they finished their coffee, Cena had confirmed what he already suspected. Emily wasn't just a good waitress. She was the kind of person who could rebuild the trust the diner had lost. As she stood to leave, Emily glanced back at him, still uncertain. Who are you really? Cena only smiled. You'll find out soon enough. That evening, back in his room, he picked up the phone and made 2 calls. The first to Dana Kim, a trusted operations consultant. The second to Marcus Leland, a seasoned attorney. They were flying in the next morning, because the time for watching was over. The time for action had come. The next morning, the Compass Diner buzzed with its usual rhythm. Tiffany leaned against the hostess stand, chewing gum with a snap. Jason fiddled with his phone, ignoring the line of customers waiting for service. And Mason, the manager, had already barricaded himself in his office with a steaming cup of coffee. Nothing had changed until the door opened. The bell chimed as John Cena walked in. Not in faded jeans this time, but in a sharp navy suit. His broad shoulders carried authority. His posture radiated control. For a moment, the entire diner seemed to freeze. Heads turned. Tiffany blinked, confused. Jason muttered, "Wait, isn't that?" Cena ignored the whispers and strode directly to the center of the diner. Behind him, 2 figures followed. A woman in a blazer with a leather portfolio tucked under her arm, Dana Kim, his operations consultant, and a tall man with glasses carrying a briefcase, Marcus Leland, his attorney. Emily stood near the counter, her eyes wide. She knew instantly. Her hand went to her mouth, shock mixing with relief. Carlos peeked out from the kitchen door, eyebrows raised, as though sensing something big was about to unfold. Cena's voice broke the silence, calm but commanding. "Good morning, everyone. My name is John Cena." A ripple of murmurs passed through the customers. Tiffany's jaw dropped. Jason nearly dropped his phone. Mason's office door cracked open just an inch. "And as of last week," Cena continued, "I am the new owner of Compass Diner." The diner erupted in gasps. Customers leaned closer. Emily froze, her heart racing. Carlos pushed fully out of the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron, his eyes locked on Cena. Tiffany forced a laugh, nervously twirling her ponytail. "Wait, what? You're the owner? Is this some kind of prank?" Jason smirked, trying to regain control. "Man, come on. You're saying you bought this dump?" Cena's expression didn't change. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded set of documents, slapping them onto a table. Marcus, the lawyer, stepped forward, opening the folder for all to see. Legal contracts, signatures, seals. "No prank," Cena said firmly. "This diner is mine, which means what happens here, how people are treated here, that's my responsibility." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the room until it landed on Tiffany and Jason. His voice dropped lower, firmer. "And what I saw last night was unacceptable." The room went silent. Tiffany swallowed hard. Jason shifted uncomfortably, his smirk fading. Cena took a slow step toward them, his presence towering. Mocking a child, laughing at a struggling mother, serving microwaved food and calling it lobster. That's not hospitality. That's cruelty. And it ends today. Tiffany tried to stammer. "We were just joking." "Joking?" Cena cut her off, his voice sharp as steel. "Tell that boy it was a joke. Tell his mother. Tell the customers who watched you laugh at them. Tell me. Because I was there. I saw it all." The color drained from Tiffany's face. Jason opened his mouth, but found no words. At that moment, Mason finally emerged from his office, adjusting his tie with false confidence. Now hold on just a second. Cena turned on him like a storm. You're the manager. You had the power to stop this, but you hid in your office. You let your staff abuse customers and drag this diner's name through the mud. You failed this place. And you failed your people. Mason's bluster vanished. His mouth opened, closed, then opened again, but no sound came out. Cena's voice thundered across the diner. As of this moment, Tiffany, Jason, Mason, you're done. Pack your things. You're finished here. Gasps echoed. Tiffany sputtered in protest. Jason muttered curses under his breath. Mason tried to argue about contracts, but Marcus, the attorney, was already stepping forward with termination notices ready to sign. There was no escape. And then Cena turned, softer now, but no less commanding, toward Emily and Carlos. Emily, he said, his eyes steady. Last night, you did something rare. You cared when no one else did. You fought for a child's dignity even when you had no authority to change the outcome. That's leadership. From this moment forward, you're the new general manager of Compass Diner. Emily's eyes widened, her lips trembling. Me? I don't know what to say. Say yes, Cena replied simply. Tears welled in her eyes as she nodded, barely able to speak. Yes, absolutely yes. Cena then turned to Carlos, whose jaw was set with pride. And you, Carlos, you've been carrying this kitchen on your shoulders with no support. That ends now. You're not just a cook, you're head chef. And you'll have the resources and respect you deserve. Carlos's stern face cracked into the faintest smile. He nodded once firmly. I won't let you down. The room erupted in applause. Customers clapped. Some even stood. A mother hugged her child at the corner table, tears of joy streaming down her face. Cena raised his hand, steadying the noise. His voice softened again, filled with warmth. This diner was once a place of pride for this town, a place where people felt welcome, where kindness mattered more than money. That's what it's going to be again, starting now. And for the first time in years, the Compass Diner felt alive. 6 months later, the Compass Diner didn't look the same anymore. Gone were the flickering lights, the cracked booths, the staff with dead eyes. In their place, sunlight streamed through clean windows. Booths had been reupholstered in fresh red and cream. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling butter filled the air, blending with the sound of laughter and clinking silverware. The neon sign outside had been restored, glowing proudly. Compass Diner, where everyone's family. Inside, the change wasn't just in the decor, it was in the people. Behind the counter, Emily moved with confidence, her head held higher than before. Now wearing a crisp blazer with her name embroidered beneath the word manager, she greeted customers by name, her smile genuine and unforced. She wasn't just serving food anymore, she was shaping a culture. In the kitchen, Carlos orchestrated his team like a conductor. Plates left the pass with precision, color, and care. His once weary face now carried pride. The staff respected him, and he respected them back. Lobster, once a joke, was now the diner's signature dish, and it was always perfect. And in the far corner booth, a familiar sight warmed every heart that noticed it. Tyler sat with his mom, a birthday balloon tied to the side of their booth. He was a little taller now, a little more confident, his smile as bright as ever. This time, when the lobster arrived, it was steaming hot, garnished with herbs and butter dripping down the sides. "Happy birthday, Tyler," Emily said, setting the plate in front of him with pride. The boy's face lit up as the whole diner clapped and cheered. His mom covered her mouth with her hand, tears welling up. But this time, they weren't from shame. They were from joy. At that moment, the diner doors opened, and John Cena stepped in. Dressed casually again, baseball cap pulled low, he waved as customers recognized him. He wasn't here for fanfare. He was here to check on the family he'd built. Tyler spotted him first. "Mom, it's him. It's Mr. Cena." Cena walked over, ruffling the boy's hair with a grin. "Happy birthday, champ. How's the lobster?" Tyler beamed. "Perfect." His mother's eyes met Cena's, her voice thick with gratitude. "Thank you for everything." Cena simply nodded, his words quiet but powerful. This isn't just a diner. It's a place of respect, of dignity, a place where every family should feel welcome. That's what you all deserve. Around the diner, customers smiled, servers moved with pride, and the atmosphere felt alive with hope. As Cena stood in the doorway, about to leave, he looked back one last time. The diner was full, the energy vibrant, the legacy restored. He knew he didn't need to say anything more. The people inside said it for him. Because now, the Compass Diner wasn't just serving meals. It was serving kindness. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit the like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching this video from? We'd love to know.